Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on The Winter's Tale and we get to hear from Antigonus today in Act 3, Scene 3. Now, Antigonus is the husband to Paulina, and he is also the one that was tasked with taking the newborn baby out to leave it somewhere in the forest to fend for itself or whatever, what have you. So he left to do that, and he missed out on the trial where Apollo, through the oracle at Delphi, declared Hermione innocent and Leontes a tyrant. They found out that Mamilius, the son, had died, and Hermione passed out at that news, went off stage, died off stage. Leontes is repentant. Paulina is very angry, but then apologized for ripping into the king. And he's like, no, take them. They'll share a grave, and I will go there every day and cry, and that will be my penance because my wife and son are now dead because of me. And that was Act 3, Scene 2. So Act 3, Scene 3, we're catching up with Antigonus, who has the baby with him. And we start out like on a boat or just off a boat. He's talking to one of the mariners on the boat. He's like, you're sure we're in Bohemia now? And the mariner's like, yeah, we're there, but there's all these storms coming and stuff like that. You probably don't want to stay super long. And Antigonus is like, well, I just got to go, leave the baby. And it's interesting, I think, that they go to Bohemia, but it's also a nice plot device that they go to Bohemia for this. But he's like, yeah, the storms are coming, and the mariner's like, yeah, go do your thing real quick and then come back as quick as you can, because there's, not only the storm, but there's also lots of wild animals around. So the mariner leaves the stage with the presumption being that we're supposed to follow Antigonus as he walks away from the boat to leave the baby somewhere. And so it's him and the baby, but since the baby is really only a few days old, it doesn't get to really say anything. He just gets to say to the baby, come, poor babe. I have heard, but not believed, the spirits of the dead may walk again. If such thing be, thy mother appeared to me last night, for ne'er was dream so like a waking. To me comes a creature, sometimes her head on one side, some another. I never saw a vessel of like sorrow, so filled and so becoming. In pure white robes, like very sanctity, she did approach my cabin where I lay, thrice bowed before me, and, gasping to begin some speech, her eyes became two spouts. The fury spent, anon, did this break from her. Good Antigonus, since fate, against thy better disposition, hath made thy person for the thrower out of my poor babe, according to thine oath, places remote enough are in Bohemia. There weep and leave it crying. And for the babe is counted lost forever, perdita, I prithee called. For this ungentle business put on thee by my lord, thou ne'er shall see thy wife Paulina more. And so with shrieks she melted into air, affrighted much. I did in time collect myself, and thought this was so, and no slumber. Dreams are toys. Yet for this once, yea, superstitiously, I will be squared by this. I do believe Hermione hath suffered death, and that Apollo would, this being indeed the issue of King Polixenes, it should here be laid, either for life or death, upon the earth of its right father. Blossom, speed thee well. There lie, and there thy character, there these, which may, if fortune please, both breed thee, pretty, and still rest thine. The storm begins. Poor wretch, that for thy mother's fault art thus exposed to loss and what may follow. The storm begins. Poor wretch, that for thy mother's fault art thus exposed to loss and what may follow. Weep I cannot, but my heart bleeds, and most accursed am I to be by my oath enjoined to this. Farewell. The day frowns more and more. Thou art like to have a lullaby too rough. Never saw the heavens so dim by day. A savage clamor. Well, may I get aboard? This is the chase. I am gone forever. And this is followed by the best stage direction that has ever been written by anyone. It says, exit pursued by a bear. Yeah, exit pursued by a bear. That's one way to get rid of a character. So anyway, real quick, let's talk about what he was talking about. So he takes the baby away from the boat to leave it somewhere in Bohemia because he had a dream and or maybe a vision that Hermione came to him and told him to take the baby to Bohemia, sort of under the guise that if it is indeed Polixenes' child, taking it to Bohemia, it's like on its own home turf, and maybe somebody will be able to take care of it. Maybe somebody will find it and be able to take care of it. And in the dream, Paulina also says to name the baby Perdita because the baby is lost forever, and the Perdita has the same roots as, lost, disappeared, all that sort of thing in several Latin-based languages. So, and she also says that his punishment for having to be the person that had to do this is that he will never see Paulina again. So Antigonus was so shaken by this dream that he decided he better do that. So that's why he got on the boat to Bohemia to leave the baby there. And he gets there and, this storm is coming in and he feels really bad about having to do this. So he leaves the baby with like a scroll that says that the baby's name is Perdita. And I think the scroll also mentions that this might be a royal baby. But anyway, he leaves a couple other things with the baby that hopefully the baby will get to keep throughout its life. And he says goodbye. And then, with this impending storm, he's like, I got to get out of here and get back to the boat. But instead, he is chased off by a bear. Now, lots of productions will just have like somebody in a bear suit going like, "Arr," to follow Antigonus off of the stage. I don't know that I've ever seen like a fight between Antigonus and the bear. Like, nobody really wants to draw out this exit pursued by a bear, but just the stage direction, exit pursued by bear, has made it into like other pop culture things. I think there's a theater company called Exit Pursued by Bear. In the Simon Pegg Nick Frost movie The World's End, they say let's boo boo, which is a derivative of Exit Pursued by Bear. Let's get out of here because we're pursued by a bear. Get out of here because we're pursued by Yogi Bear. Yogi and Boo Boo, let's Boo Boo becomes shorthand for them for let's leave. So it's just, yeah. And especially also after this great big long speech where he talks about this terrifying dream that he had, and then how much it scared him, and that he doesn't know whether it's true or not, and it's got this sort of impending doom factor of he's never going to see his wife again either, all of this stuff, and this horrible storm impending, and he leaves a baby on the ground to die, whatever, to just cap that off with Exit Pursued by Bear. I don't know. I love it. I love it. I think most people who have read this play just latch on to the Exit Pursued by a Bear because you can, because it's there, because it exists. But anyway, believe it or not, that's not the end of the scene. We're going to see some other people. As a matter of fact, they come in shortly after the bear, but not so shortly that the bear sees them. But anyway, we'll get to check in with them tomorrow. I'll see you then for that. Mwah.